So what would cause the car jerking when it slows down? Well, when you slow down without pressing the gas pedal, the fuel in your car cuts off. So there is no fuel supply and your front wheels, they are driving the engine in most cases. When you read the internet and ask why is my car jerking when I decelerate, you will get the most common thing: check your spark plugs, check your ignition coils. This is not true. It's not going to happen because of the spark plugs, because the spark plugs in this condition, they don't work at all, as well as ignition coils and fuel injectors. So this is not something you should look at first. The most common thing is the transmission problem, but let's first look at some less scary things. So when the fuel cuts off, your front wheels start driving your engine. It means that any problems with the front wheels will cause your car to jerk, and if it's like damaged rim, damaged tire, low tire pressure, it may be one of the reasons. Also brakes. If you start braking and you feel this jerking, it means that something is wrong with the brakes. Sometimes it's something physical, like something with the brake pads. So one pad is missing, or the pads are very thin, or the discs are damaged, and you will have this jerking things when you start braking. When you don't brake, you will not have this. When you only start braking, pressing on the brake pedal, you will have this jerking. In this case, you may need to check the brakes. Also, you need to know that the modern car is filled with a lot of electronic control modules, and they monitor the behavior of your vehicle at any time. And when you decelerate, a lot of systems control how the traction of your car is working. So if one of the ABS sensor, for example, throws wrong warnings, and the ABS control module will not immediately understand that one of the sensors is broken, it will think that this sensor throws proper readings and the car is just going to the skid, for example, and it will start braking. It will start using the traction control instruments, traction control tools, to try and level your car on the road. And this means that it will start braking automatically, and that's why actually you may get this jerking when you decelerate. Now we come to the transmissions problems. And actually, when you decelerate, what your automatic transmission does, it shifts down. And since your wheels are driving the engine and the engine doesn't get any fuel, the wheels are driving the engine through the transmission. And it means that if something is bad with this transmission, you will feel jerking every time it downshifts. And in this case, you may obviously need to check the fluid level in the transmission and maybe check the mechanical parts of the transmission if you can't find the reason why this happens. Now, there is a simple test for the transmission, and you can do it in the morning when your car is cold. So start your vehicle and start shifting from one mode to another in your transmission. So it's initially in park, shift to reverse, shift to neutral, then shift to drive 3, drive 2, drive 1, whatever other options you have in the transmission shifter, and register what happens with the car. If, for example, it jerks pretty much, it will jerk when it's cold, it will jerk a little bit when you shift from neutral to drive, for example, and from park to reverse, it will jerk a little bit. But if this jerking is not normal, if it jerks pretty much, it means that there is a problem with the transmission. Maybe the starting problem because the transmission is cold and the fluid in transmission is cold, but it may show that the problem has already started and you have some issues with the transmission. And the first thing to do is to check the fluid level, because when transmission is jerking, when it shifts, the most obvious thing is the transmission fluid. And also one more thing to check is the mounts. As you already know, your transmission downshifts when the car decelerates, and this may cause this jerking. But your transmission may be healthy, but the mount of this transmission may be broken. And when the mount is broken, every time the transmission downshifts, it will jerk a little bit, and you will feel this in your car. So checking the mounts is one of the first things to do if you suspect that the transmission has some issues in your car.